Good morning again. Welcome to Higher Moment Mastermind. I'm Sheryl Lutzar, happy to be your host today and joined by Vern Schellinger, who hopefully will be able to get on here. Well, there he is. Great.
I am.
There you go. Was working fine. We are here to support your job search, and I know we have a few new folks here, so welcome. Normally, this is going to be a kind of an open Q&A. We just sort of, kind of have people ask questions. I'm going to do things a little bit differently today. Few of you might know that behind the scenes, I've been working on a different project for specifically for the federal community, a federally disrupted community called Higher Vision. And I've been sort of slowing the roll on it a little bit because I'm really thinking it through, like how it should really work. And I love to use this group today as a bit of an incubator. If you all kind of want to experiment with me, okay, that's what we're going to do today. And I'll tell you where we're going to go with this. My goal for that particular group, which again I'm hoping to maybe experiment with right now here, is to create a curated networking experience. Okay, so we know that most jobs are gotten through personal networking, not through the job boards. That's just the way that it goes. In fact, over 80% of jobs are hidden from the market. And even the jobs that are posted, a lot of people get their jobs through a personal network by finding an internal champion. And LinkedIn is one of the best ways to tee up your network, right? To help yourself and to help other people. And what I'd like to do today is actually kind of talk through a concept that I'm thinking about using for this other higher vision. And again, just give me some grace here. We're just going to kind of roll with it. All right. Let me explain to you what I'd like to do. So first of all, I'd like to share with all of you a concept around networking that I think is going to be helpful just for anybody here, just in general for your search. But then also I'd like to create a practical situation here where we can open up our LinkedIns to help each other on this group. And I recognize we are a diverse group. We're from different, professions and industries and so forth, but I'm hoping this is going to work. So let me give you the high level concept here. So first of all, and some of you might already know this idea that I share, I have an idea, a concept called lane versus community. Lane versus community. Your lane is your profession, it's what you do. Your community is who you do it for. It's this industry, mission, or sector. And the reason why I mention that is because most of us conflate the two. Most of us don't think about it as actually two separate things. And it can be super helpful when you're thinking about your next step, your brand, who you're targeting in your employment, in your job search, how you network, how you present yourself, because that's actually how employers think. When they post a job, there's a title, right? And the title is the lane. It's the thing that they want you to do. But every one of these employers comes from a community, healthcare, government contracting, environmental nonprofits, you name it, right? There's a million different communities out there. And most employers would ideally like you to come from that community or at least adjacent to that community. It makes them feel safe. Employers are risk averse. They just are. And more so these days. And so it can be very helpful when you know your lane and your community. If you have a community, some people don't have a community. Some people are pretty cross-sectoral, right? You might have a lane and you can go across sectors and that's fine. But when you are presenting yourself, right, it's very helpful to know which and what, okay? And some of you are actually changing your lane and or changing your community. And by the way, it's easier to change one, not both. Let me say that again. It's easier to change one, not both, because when you change both, that's pretty risky for the employer. So one of the examples I like to give folks, you might have heard me say this, years ago, I was working with an attorney. He decided he didn't want to be an attorney anymore. He wanted to be a writer. And so I looked through his resume and found all these writing skills because lawyers like to write. We did a LinkedIn profile about his writing. Anyway, he became a journalist with a legal trade publication. Okay. So turned from attorney to writer, but kept in the legal world. It felt safe for the publication because he knew he was legal, but they allowed him to change his lane. Okay. And I've got lots of examples of those kinds of things, but that's what I'm kind of talking about. So for those of you who are pivoting, that's one of the ways you can do it. So that's the first concept is this lane versus community. And the second concept I'd like to share from a networking perspective is what I call the family tree of networking. The family tree of networking. And I like to call it twins, siblings, first cousins, and second cousins. And those are both relational to you as well as professional to you. So your twin relationally is the person who's going to dance at your wedding and help you move. Okay. Vern's about to move, so he probably has some people who he fits who are in the twin category that'll, do him a solid. Your sibling is somebody that you're close to, meaning close enough where you're very collegial, right? You can pick up the phone and say, "Hey, so and so, right? I got a challenge," and they'll help you. Your first cousin is somebody who's going to be more of a dormant relationship that you can resurrect. And your second cousin is someone who just would probably remember your first and last name. Professionally, your twin is somebody who does what you do. They're not your competitor, they're your competitor. They are somebody who does exactly what you do. And the reason why that twin is important to you is because that is a person who is going to hear about opportunities that are not right for them, but could be right for you. And that's one of the most important family members that you can think about because they are the people who are going to be your best referral source. As a recruiter, happens to me all the time on the other side. I do searches. In fact, I'm doing one right now, and my two top candidates came from this kind of thing where I would reach out. I'm looking for this case. It's this very niche search for director of exam development. It's a very niche job for the certification board. And I went into LinkedIn and I put in director of exam development. And I find people who do that kind of work. And I say, "Hi, this is the search I'm doing. Do you know of anybody?" And I'm assuming birds of a feather. I'm assuming that exam development people know other exam development people. And sure enough, people were saying, "Oh, job's not right for me, but call Susie." That happens all the time, which means you can reverse engineer that. You can be looking for people who do what you do, get on their radar, their network, so that they can refer opportunities back to you, which also means you can be doing this for each other. You can be opening up your network when someone comes to you and says, "Hey, I'm looking for this kind of lane," for example. You can look in your own first level contacts and say, "Do I know somebody who's in that profession who could be right for my colleague?" Okay. And this is one of the things that I'd like to do with us today is I want to start this process, right, of thinking about number one, what is our lane? What is our community? Where are we targeting? Either we're staying in the same lane or community, shifting one, right? But you have some sort of, hopefully, some sort of direction in your search. But number two, I like us to be thinking for each other, who do we know in our own first level contacts? We're not even going to deal with second levels right now, just your first level contacts, that a person that you know that you're like, "Hey, you know what? I forgot about this person." LinkedIn's a great way to remind you. LinkedIn's database, which is your connections, that is a database, is a great way to remind yourself of who's in your network. We all forget. That's just, can't keep everybody in our brain, right? But that database is a really good way to remember. And so what I'd like to do is start to kind of, again, we're just experimenting today. We're kind of dipping our toe in the water, for us to first of all talk about amongst ourselves, because this is a small group, and really think through, what is my lane? What is my community, either current or mostly aspirational? And then who would be a good twin for you to meet, right? So Mark is an attorney and he's in the banking world, right? So as far as I'm concerned, that could be a really good person for you. Those kinds of people. Other legal type folks within the banking world, to me, might be a really good place for you to go. Monica is in marketing and she's been in the international development sector, which I know has been, of course, very disrupted. And yet there could be folks, other marketing types of folks, maybe in some sort of international capacity, not necessarily a USAID person, okay, because they've been very disrupted, but maybe somebody adjacent to that, maybe somebody who is, maybe they're in a for-profit company and they're in the international world and they need marketers, but maybe somebody who's, again, it kind of plays in that world, lane or community or both. And so I want to start thinking about this. We're going to stew on it for just a minute, all right? And I'd like to go around the room and we're going to slow the roll because we are a small group, and think about and have you share with us, first of all, what you believe your lane is, at least aspirationally. Could be current, but could be aspirational. What community, if you have a community, you may not, and that's okay. If you're just a lane person, you're just a marketer, you're just a accountant, you're whatever you are, and you don't, and you're cross-sectoral, that's fine. But if you do have a community, I'd like for you to let us know.
Mm.
And then here's what we're going to do. Okay. As the person is talking, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you, I'm going to share my screen. We're going to help each other. All right. And I'm going to open up LinkedIn, and I'd like all of you to open up LinkedIn. But first, I'm going to share my screen with you. And as the person is talking, okay, you're going to be helping them out, and everybody's going to help each other out as we do this. All right. So here's LinkedIn. Sorry, my computer's being a little slow. I should probably close my tabs. That would help. All right, but you could do this on your own right now while you're waiting for my little slow computer. You can open up LinkedIn. And by the way, to make this easy for you as you're on this call, just minimize your screen. You minimize your Zoom screen at the top in the top right. Okay, so I'll turn into a little box, and then you don't have to worry. And if you go to LinkedIn, and all you're going to do is you're going to look at the search bar in the upper left-hand corner, and you're going to type in the title. We're going to start with titles of the kind of person that that person wants to meet. Okay. So for example, hopefully this will, I closed my tabs. Hopefully this will work. For now, we're going to type in, Monica, we're just going to use you. So we're going to type in the upper left-hand corner, I want you to type in, Monica, would you say like I don't know, I'm not going to ask you for a story yet, but do you think like if we typed in like director of marketing, is that kind of the right level? Would that be kind of a peer for you? Okay. So I'd like for people, here it is. I want everybody to type in right now. We're just going to do this as an experiment. I want you to type in director marketing. Okay. I want you to hit enter. We're all going to do this. And I recognize we're all in different backgrounds. So you may or may not have somebody like this in your background. That's okay. Director of marketing. Then I want you to hit the people button. Oh my goodness. Sorry. This is so being so slow. Anyway, once you do that, then you're going to hit the first tab, because that's your connections. And I want you to see if you, right now, we're just going simple, okay? I want you to see if you have any directors of marketing or anybody actually in the marketing world who is a first level. Okay, so right now my list just came up. I'm going to hit first. And I know I happen to know I have a lot of people. Um, and I want you to see this, see who's in your list. And so right now, I'd like you to just open up your mic, and you don't have to say who it is right now, but just again, we're just playing around. Does anybody on this call, other than me, have any first level contacts who are somehow connected to the marketing space? We're not even talking about the international yet, just marketing. Just open your mic and say, yeah, if you do, other than Monica. Nobody? Okay, that's all right. I know we're a very eclectic group here, so wouldn't necessarily assume that. Now let's do the,
Oh, I got one.
you do,
Yeah.
Mario?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you describe that we don't have to name names yet, but can you describe what that person does in the world?
So they are a director of growth marketing.
Okay, so that's corporate.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. Because you know what? Look, sometimes people, remember there's lane and community, okay? So sometimes people in a lane might have people in various communities that they know. So I'm making this up, okay? So what's the person's first name?
Genevieve.
Genevieve. Okay. So I'm gonna play pretend here. I'm gonna assume kinda that Genevieve, even though she's corporate growth, which is again, what do you call it? Corporate growth marketing?
Yeah.
It's probably corporate. Genevieve likely has connections in her world that might be appropriate for Monica to meet. In other words, you could be possibly brokering an introduction with Genevieve to Monica and say, hey, Genevieve, I have a colleague named Monica Jervy. She's in the marketing space, recently federally disrupted, as it turns out. Would you be open to networking with her to see if maybe you guys could explore some synergies? That's what I'm talking about. Does that make sense? So you don't
Hmm.
necessarily know if she has a connection for Monica, but she might, because she's in a similar lane, even though she's in a different community. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So let's do the other way around. So actually, not the other way around. I'm gonna actually add a community
Mm,
here.
I have
You have someone too?
I have a colleague that was at my last company who is now Chief Marketing and Communications Officer.
Great. Okay. This is great. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. And then the other level here, right, is that when you look at these first levels, you yourself, Mario, Paletro, you guys are going to have different levels of relationship with these people, either very, very close or very not, right? But somewhere in the middle, you have it. So you are going to, you will feel different levels of comfort in making these kinds of introductions. Like somebody like me and Vern, right? We're buddies. So I could just pick up a phone, I could send him a text, whatever. I'm like, hey, would you meet my person? He'll say absolutely. Okay. Somebody, if I did not know Vern very well, if he was just an acquaintance, I'd have to be a little bit more formal, right? In how I reached out. Oh, hi, Vern. Hope you're doing well. It's been a long time. Da da da. Love to tee this introduction. Would that be okay? And what you can do, if you're making the introduction for someone else, you have to think, can you just based on your relationship with that person, can you just tee up the intro and say, hi, Vern, please meet Monica? Okay. Or do you feel like for that relationship, you need to do what we call, ready? Everybody write this down. Do what we call a permission referral. A permission referral means that you're not actually making the introduction yet. You're asking for permission. So if Vern and I didn't know each other very well, maybe it was an acquaintance, I might not just feel comfortable. Hi, Vern, please meet Monica. I might say, hi, Vern, not CC Monica. Just say, hi, Vern, been a long time. Hope you're doing well. I'd like to ask your permission to make an introduction to a colleague named Monica, da 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 da. Would that be okay if I brokered an intro? That's permission. Then he'd write back and say, sure. Then I go, hi, Vern, please meet Monica. And I would do the CC thing. Does that make sense? But if I already knew, I know Vern, I know he would have no problem with me doing that. I would just go, hi, Vern, please meet my colleague, Monica, da, 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 da. This is a little bit about her. Is this making sense? Okay. So there's different ways to do these intros. Okay. And you also have to think, well, what kind of intro is it? So for example, Mario, if your person, if Genevieve was actually from the, I don't know, international nonprofit-y kind of a thing, it would probably you might frame it in such a way as to say, yeah, actually, I think Monica, you and Monica have a lot of synergies because you're coming from very similar sectors. Whereas in this case, Mara, you might say, look, you're both in marketing. Monica comes from a bit of a different community or different sector, but still hoping you might be able to find some synergies. Does that make sense? You just have to frame it in a way that makes sense for the introduction.
Sure,
Yes,
sure. Let me just jump in
please.
because so let's suppose Genevieve is not in the international marketing space,
Right,
right?
right.
But maybe someone in her network
Correct.
is.
Correct.
So, and if she's the type of person that's willing to reach out to someone in her network
Exactly
and
right.
introduce her to Monica. So
That's right.
that's another whole level of the possibilities that exist.
That's right.
The other caveat, and you probably all experienced this, some people don't look at their LinkedIn accounts.
Right. That's right.
So if you reach out and you don't hear back from them,
That's
you know,
right.
just let it go. Okay. There's thousands and thousands of people on LinkedIn and you've got, more than one contact.
And
So
and Vern, I'm so glad you brought that up because I had it in my mind. I didn't say it out loud, so thank you for saying that.
yeah.
That actually, when you're doing a first level outreach and you're trying to do an intro, I recommend for exactly to Vern's point, don't use LinkedIn for the outreach. Use LinkedIn for the database to find the person. But your first level contacts, 99% of the time, will actually provide you their email by opening up their profile. And when you open up their profile, sorry again for the slowness here, and you click on the contact info button, most of the time it's going to be there. Occasionally, people will close off their email, they won't provide their email address to their first levels, but usually they do. So what I would recommend, Mario, right, is you open up Genevieve's profile, you hit her contact info. It's likely going to have her personal address, her Gmail or whatever. Okay. And then via email, you'd say, "Hi, Genevieve. It's been a while. Da da da. Like to introduce you to my colleague Monica." You CC Monica and you do a little intro, right? That just allows them to go and play together, as it were. Okay. And we can talk about what to say in a second, but I just wanted to get us kind of accustomed to this whole idea of opening up our networks for each other to see if there might be some connections. Is this all making sense as to why we're doing it this way?
Yeah.
Right? Because this is all about making these personal connections, little nuances, like to Vern's point. Well, people don't check LinkedIn, so you got to go email and you got to do a right introduction. And there's all these little nuances to think about. But the idea here is that we all have hidden connections in our first level network in LinkedIn we have forgotten about, and we wouldn't remember unless we had LinkedIn to prompt us. That's the point of this whole thing, right? It just helps to expand our network a little bit. All right. Let me just go back to see if Ashley will come up here so you can see the
Yeah.
contact info. Okay, so here's Ashley's page, and here is her contact info. I need to restart my computer. Sorry, this is really slow.
Share one other nuance, and this happens in LinkedIn. Sometimes you'll look at your
Yeah.
first little
By the way, here it is. Here's her
Okay,
Gmail. Anyway.
yeah,
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 sorry. Go ahead.
yep. You'll look at your first level connections and you'll say, who is this person?
That's right.
Okay, because you know, sometimes I have a love-hate relationship with LinkedIn.
Yeah,
They want you to have 500 connections,
right,
that's the goal.
right.
Well, it's pretty hard to keep track or keep a strong relationship with 500 people.
It's true. It's
But
true.
LinkedIn is encouraging all of
Yeah,
its users to connect with people, connect with people, connect with people.
yeah,
So that's just
true.
it can be a little frustrating. And if you run into that, you've either got to kind of rekindle that relationship somehow, or just say, I have no idea who this person is. Let me move on. Don't waste your
Right.
time trying to
And
go down that hole, because there'll be plenty of others, as you just saw, in what Shira had you do. A couple of you were able to come up with people, that could possibly be connected to Monica.
exactly. And Fern, thank you for bringing up the relational aspect of this because you're right. A lot of us have, I know, for myself in particular, a lot of us have connections that we don't know, right? We're just a person that happened to connect with us for whatever reason. And actually, even though we don't have a relationship, doesn't necessarily mean we can't make the introduction. Because these days with LinkedIn, a lot of people that sort of get it, they're like, hey, we know we're just kind of, trying to help each other. And so you can still, if you feel comfortable, you can still do that email introduction. You can still say, hi, Mario, I don't know your relationship with Genevieve. So let's pretend that you really don't know her at all. Let's just pretend she's just an acquaintance, not even an acquaintance. You could say, hi, Genevieve, you and I are first level connected on LinkedIn. I don't believe we've ever met. I'm reaching out because I have a colleague who I think, would be interested in meeting with you, blah, 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 right? So you just have to tee it up a little bit, where just kind of remind them how you met, even though it might not go anywhere because you don't have a relationship, but you could try if you feel comfortable. That's the whole thing. It's all about your comfort level, their comfort level, right? We're just kind of doing the little dance with each other, but at least it's a place to start. That's kind of my point. Okay. So with that, I want to just keep playing around with this whole idea of the database before we get into introductions and how we're going to do it. But I want us to kind of get into the rhythm of this, if that's all right. So Mario, let's just kind of go with you. So would you like to share with us your lane and or your community, right? Your profession and if you have a sector that you're pursuing. And then when you do that, we can all behind the scenes kind of see, does anybody have a first level connection that maybe could be good for you to meet?
Hi, my name is Mario, and I'm a procurement professional. My background's in technology companies,
Okay.
and right now I'm looking for positions in technology. I'm open to pharma slash bio industries also.
Okay. When you say open to, does that mean you have a background in biopharma or you're just interested
No, I mean my
you're in
background's in primarily supporting technology companies.
technology? Okay. So tech companies. Great. So
Yes.
in theory, a good lead, a good connection for you could be someone who's in procurement in tech, right? Because that would be sort of a twin for you, people who might hear
Yes.
about opportunities. All right, so why don't we go ahead and we're just going to take a minute. Again, thank you for your grace here as we shift our our process here today. And let's just go ahead and everybody do a quick search in the search bar in the upper left corner. If you could put in the word procurement, okay? Just start with procurement. Let's just see who you all know in procurement. And then and hit the first level button, and after you do that, then you can actually put procurement and technology and see what comes up. Because what happens with LinkedIn, I'm just going to train you as we go along here, is that LinkedIn's algorithm is such that it will first draw from people who's when you put in the search term, it's going to first draw from people who have that term in their headline. And I want you to listen to what I just said because this matters for all of your branding. Know that people are looking for you too. Recruiters right now are trying to search for you. And so what they're going to do is they're going to put into the search bar, they're going to say marketing, they're going to say procurement, they're going to say attorney, they're going to say whatever they say. If you don't have that phrase in your headline, you may not be found. Okay. So a lot of people in their LinkedIn headline will say things like either seeking new opportunities or they'll say something creative like, hey, I help solve problems for blah, blah, blah. But that's not a title. So recruiters are putting in a title in that search bar. So you want your lane, your title, if you will, the kind of title that you're looking for to be first and foremost in the first few words of your career headline in LinkedIn. That's going to help you be found more quickly and more efficiently. Then you can put in all the other fancy stuff about how you solve problems and how strategic you are and whatever. But the first few words should be, digital marketing professional, something procurement, SaaS, something, I don't know, whatever, right? Like very, very specific around the kind of title that you are looking for. That way you can be better found. So we're just reverse engineering this right now. And that's why I'm asking for folks who can help Mario to say, all right, I know somebody in procurement. And then maybe if you put the word technology there, somebody in procurement in the technology world, that could be an even better fit. All right. So with that, let's just press pause. And I know we have a couple new folks who joined us as I've been doing my little speech. For the folks who just joined us, we're doing a little bit of doing something creative today. We're getting into our LinkedIn networking and we're trying to help each other try to make some interesting connections based on our own personal context. So right now we're looking for Mario. We're doing the LinkedIn search in the search bar, putting in procurement, and you can put technology there to say, all right, does somebody have anybody, even one person, who is in that space that could be an interesting connection for Mario?
I
Okay,
have
you do. Okay,
one person that is a principal procurement specialist with Raytheon.
great. Fabulous. Great. Monica, you have someone too?
Um, yes, this is interesting. I have a new connection named Noah that Alki just introduced me to recently, who's a senior procurement manager. He is open to work, but he's from both the international development and the technology space. He was previously with Amazon.
Right. So I want to play with this right now. I'm taking you behind the scenes as you think about these names and these people, and I want you to kind of think about the different ways that Mario might connect with these people. All right. So I'm going to break this all down. So first of all, so Monica, you just mentioned this person is in procurement. international, Amazon, different things. So part of that is tangentially related to Mario, not maybe exactly, whereas Pauletra, your person is actually procurement in technology, right? Okay. So Pauletra's person might have a little bit of an easier synergy, but Monica's person, to Vern's point, might have a more expanded network that could be good for Mario. All right. Either way, if Pauletra and Monica feel comfortable, they could be teeing up this intro. Hi, so and so. Please meet my colleague Mario. He's looking for such and such. All right. And then you can say, hope you all, have some good networking and some good synergies. And one of the best ways to do this, and for our group, purposes of our group, is right now, for example, Mario, is if you were to come up, and I'd like everybody to think about doing this, Mario, if you were to come up with a little, oh, that's great, Pauletra, you're close. See, this is it. See, Pauletra has a relationship with this person, so probably Pauletra would be like, hey, meet Mario, and the person will probably do it. So what I'd like you to do, Mario, and everybody for yourselves start doing this, is come up with a little blurb, not a hunk of paragraph, a little tiny blurb, 2 sentences, 3 lines, 4 tops. Okay. Very, very short about the kind of role that you're looking for and the kind of sectors or communities that you're interested in. Now, this is not going to be a whole diatribe about all your amazing superpowers, which I'm sure you have many, Mario, okay? And all the accomplishments that you've had, I'm sure you have many. This is not the place for that. Right now, we are just trying to let the person know, so Monica and Pauletra's contacts, know why this is a good connection. It's a good connection because you're both in similar lanes and or you're in similar communities. We think, Mario says, I think, or Pauletra and Monica says, I think that you could find some synergies to explore. And then they have a conversation. And then that conversation, the Pauletra and Monica's contact say, okay, Mario, who are you? What's going on? Tell me your story. And now they're going to be able to relate to each other more because they're all in procurement. They can talk the procurement-y thing. Okay. And yes, it shows up a little different in tech than it does in international, but that's okay. They'll work through that conversation, but they will have some starting point of common vernacular around procurement. You getting that? That's why the lane to lane thing works and community to community works because the vernacular, the jargon, the business terminology is similar. They'll probably speak similar language. Is this making sense? Right? There's a theory behind this, and people will bond better and they'll be able to help each other more when they can talk a similar language. Just like having to, like in this country, right? Even here, we have people who have different accents in different parts of the country, and different backgrounds and different lenses and whatever. And so we relate to each other a little differently depending upon what part of the country we're from or what our background is, right? That's what we're talking about when we come talk about professionals. Okay. So Mario, just for if you're okay with this, if you wouldn't mind while we're doing our thing, it's just to come up with a little blurb. If you could put that in the chat, right? And then Monica and Pauletra can pick it up and also put your email address. Okay. Put your email address and your little blurb. And then Monica and Pauletra can pick it up. And then if they feel comfortable and they think it makes sense, they can do an intro for you. Is that making sense? Okay. All right. So Michael, you're up, and then I'm going to let you know the order of things. So Michael, and then Andrew, and then we'll keep going. So your lane, Michael, and or your community.
So I guess you could say I can fill 2 different roles.
Okay.
So I've been a technical project manager
Technical project manager. Okay.
in the IT world.
Okay.
But as you know, project management can span
Heavy,
industries.
Sure.
But mostly in the IT, not well for healthcare. I've worked in healthcare. I've worked for Toyota Motor Car. I mean, I've been in financial services just as a
Okay. So you're cross-sectoral, right?
yeah, any sector that
Okay.
has technology.
Okay. So for you, it's really a lane connection for you. So if everybody could do a quick search for technical project manager, see if you have anybody that looks like that.
So also with my background, I can also be a director of IT for a small to medium sized company.
Okay.
That's not a big stretch.
Okay.
But IT directors, they seem to want MBAs.
So from a connection, so this is what the lens I'm using right now. When I hear that, I'm thinking, who would be a good referral for you? Who would be a good connection for you, Michael, right? So right now,
I have about 1,000 connections on LinkedIn.
yeah. But I'm
So
thinking our
thank
network,
you.
right? Who could,
Yes, so thank you for that
yeah,
tidbit because I found a ton of people I haven't reached out to or seen
see?
in 20 years.
Exactly, right? Go back into your own
So
first
that's
levels and remind yourself.
fantastic. Now, as a project manager, though, I've been getting calls or texts on LinkedIn about project management opportunities.
Yeah.
I've been project managing my own stuff for a long time. So I own my own consulting company for since 2011, but I have taken some full-time jobs in between as things got a little slower. And I recently moved across the country. So my resume gets confusing to people. So I try to order it a certain way where my last contract, right, is at the top of my resume, even though I own this consulting company, right?
So for now, and I'm so sorry to cut you off, Michael. I'm just trying
Yeah,
to
no,
keep,
it's fine.
keep the time, keep the time. So for the purposes of the
This
networking
one,
piece,
yeah,
right?
networking, yeah.
For you, for us, right, to think of for you, anybody who's a technical project manager could be a good lead for you, right?
Yes,
And then
absolutely.
anybody who's maybe the next step, like a director of IT,
Direct
that
my,
kind of person, right? Okay, so far, does anybody have that kind of connection possibly for Michael?
and that's in any industry.
Amanda. Yeah, and then a cross-sectoral could be from anybody. So Amanda, you've got somebody.
Um, I'm basically an IT consultant working in tech, but I've recently moved from the UK to DC. So my
I'm
network
in
is all in
Reston,
Europe.
so I'm not far from you.
Oh, okay. Where are you?
Reston?
Oh, I'm in Springfield.
Oh, I'm Missouri. Okay. So you're
Cool.
Maryland.
We should swap. I'll connect you on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
So
yeah, but I
Fantastic.
don't. I'm at a crossroads. I'm sort of thinking I want to go back in more into sales. I'm IBM sales trained. Love that. Also worked in comms. So I probably
Well,
need to join a different session with Shira
Okay.
that
yeah.
looks at
well, I
that.
can might be able to help you. I know a friend of mine is number one in sales for a company that sells IBM AS400s.
Yeah.
Okay.
See,
Okay.
this is
Yeah.
why we're
Yeah,
doing
we should
this,
chat.
right?
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Definitely
But
chat.
let's do this. For those of you who are comfortable, and this is a recorded call, just to remind you, for those of you who are comfortable, put for the moment, right, putting in the chat your name, your email, the couple of lines around what you're looking for. Not as much your background, but more what you're looking for. You're looking for opportunities, right, in X field, X profession, these kinds of sectors, right? So other people can grab it. I'm hoping we're going to be able to get around the room today with everybody. But this is exactly what you want to do. And look, even just amongst yourselves, you can just, send an email and say, hey, Michael says to Amanda, hey, let's go have coffee, right? Like, that's fine. Like I'd love for all of you to be connected with each other in addition to opening up your networks to your first levels. So Paulette, I'm going to shift to you because you said you've got to leave in a few minutes. So why don't you share with us your lane and or your community?
Sure. So, my name is Paletra James. I am an executive assistant, and I don't really know kind of what my community is because, as I said, I've done nonprofit, for-profit, government contracting, association,
Yep.
private. So I'm kind of across the board,
Great.
but my primary is executive assistant, but also I have a master's in IT.
All right. Great. So real quick, can people do a quick search for executive assistants in your network? Monica, it sounds like you've got a connection. Executive assistants, because I know that's a community unto itself. And Pauletra, you're familiar with the what is it? The International Association of Administrative Assistants?
I
IT.
am actually not.
Yeah. So there's an International Association of Administrative Assistants, and I know they have got local chapters. Last I knew they had one here in the DC area. By the way, speaking of networking, I just mentioned that to Pauletra, but there's pretty much an association for everything, without no joking aside. For most every profession, most every community, if you just take whatever your profession or your community is, stick it in Google, not LinkedIn, in Google, like executive assistant, and then put like executive assistant association, technical project manager association, some construction association. You will often come up with a whole bunch of associations. National, there are a lot of national groups have local chapters, and you can kind of play around and see if there's a community for you where you can go ahead and make some intentional connections, go to their networking meetings, go to their conferences. Associations are a fabulous way to find opportunities. A lot of people have found jobs because of their connections to an association, and also not just being a member, but being a volunteer, joining a committee. You know, Vern and I, that's how Vern and I know each other. We were part of a local human resources association for years. We were on the board together. That's how we know each other. That's how we became friends, right? So it's a really fabulous way to expand your network.
And in any of those associations, when you're with people who do what you do, they're more likely to know about
Exactly. Other people.
other opportunities
Right. And
your in your field.
that's how Vern got one of his jobs, right? Through
Yeah.
Angela Spicer, right?
Yeah.
She was somebody in his HR network, and she referred him a job, and that was the last job he had.
Yeah.
Happens all the time, all the time. Highly recommend the association world. Okay, great. Andrew, your lane and or your community.
My lane is field service technician, medical devices,
Okay.
and my lane is hospitals, doctor's offices, rehab centers.
Okay. And remind me again of your profession, your lane. Is it
Field service technician, medical devices.
a field services technician?
Yes.
Field services technician and medical device. So you can put that, everybody, you can put that in your search bar, but I would have even more specifically in Andrew's case, put in medical device. Because I think that part of his community is probably going to maybe be a little, since we're such an eclectic group here, I wouldn't imagine you'd all have a lot of field services technicians, but you might have someone in medical device or maybe in healthcare, hospitals. You could put different kind of search terms. Anybody have anything healthcare, medical device, anything like that? Okay, well, if you come up with someone, Andrew, please make sure to put your contact information and your little blurb in the chat. Okay, Monica, I know we've already talked about you a little bit, but you have the floor here. So real quick, again, where you're going, right? Lane and community.
Well, I'm Monica Jerby. I'm in communications and marketing. I have largely been a U.S. agency for international development contractor my entire career. And so that is my community and lane. And so with the USAID implosion, I'm looking for other mission-driven work. I want a higher purpose. And so a community that I have been associated with since birth basically is the military community. It's a long, complicated story, and so I would love to serve veterans. I also have expertise in healthcare and could go that route. I'm very interested. Oracle has 5 openings serving the VA that I'm interested in, like 1 out of 5. And so I'm particularly interested in Oracle connections related to the VA at the current time.
Okay, great. So if anyone has first level contacts, marketing or communications, and then if you want to put in the word veteran, the word military, international, if anyone has connections for Monica. What we can do is we can keep going around the room for the sake of time. And then as we're talking, if somebody comes up, you can pop it in chat or directly message Monica and see if there's anyone you can think of. Okay, great. Amanda, I know you talked a little bit about yourself. Do you want to just share again? So the kind of role, kind of lane you're looking for, which is your profession, and the kind of community, which is the sector that you're looking for.
So there's some background to this, but because I need to be quick. So in the UK, I worked in defence, and because I'm a Brit and I've got a green card, I cannot I can't work as a US citizen contractor here without security clearance. So I can't get security clearance, but I've got I've worked at NATO in Brussels. That's where I've met my American husband. That's why I'm here. We were in Germany for 5 years. So I'm looking for, I think now I want to go back into sales, account exec, account management. And I love IT. So I love getting into the geeky stuff, selling IT or
Nerd.
communication solutions.
Hmm.
And I'm IBM sales trained. I
Okay.
need to, I haven't worked for a while because I'm a trailing spouse. I'd really love to pick your brains, Shira, on another, separate time.
Sure.
I'm kind of struggling because I've not worked for a while and I'm just going stir crazy at home.
Okay.
So at the moment I need to kind of do some homework on myself before I hit the
Sure.
market.
All right. So I'm putting my email in the chat. If you'd like to reach out to me, we can certainly chat.
Thank you.
Okay, sure. So anybody for Amanda? So I would say sales would be good. Anything sales, if you want to put that in the search bar. Technology, right? Those two.
Communications.
Communications.
So Verizon, I'm interested in working for the heavy hitters like Amazon or Google or
Okay.
Intel,
Okay, great. So if anyone has connections at any of those,
and more account exec, I think, rather than hardcore sales, because sales can be really full on and burn you out quickly. So
okay.
I think I'm doing more of the account exec.
Yeah. And so be thinking, right? So when you hear the person talk about what they're looking for, there are a lot of people around that ecosystem that could be a good connection for Amanda, right? So she's looking for these kinds of things, but if you have people who are in anything related to sales, related to tech, that could be a good connection point. That's what we're looking for, just somebody to have synergies. Cool.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on. Thank you, Amanda. Mark, Lane and Community.
Yes, my lane is law. My community is financial services, i.e. banking.
Okay, great. So for folks who can put in, you can put in your search bar attorney. And if you come with an attorney, great. I know there are a lot of attorneys, but you can put attorney and finance or attorney banking, or even just people in banking. But I would say attorney and banking, attorney and
Mhm.
finance could be good ones for Mark. All right. And remember, Mark, if you could put your little blurb in the chat and your name and email. Okay, great. All right. So Leo, I know you came in a little bit late. I'm not sure if you got the process of what we're doing here, but great. So if
I
you can
had some
share lane and
issues.
community with folks, and then people will look at their LinkedIn for you.
Yes. So my lane is a treasurer or assistant treasurer or treasury manager
Okay.
or director.
Okay.
And my community is energy and utilities.
Okay. All right. So
Basically.
treasurer is the
Yeah.
lane, and then
Or
energy.
yeah, correct.
Okay, great. Okay, so if you guys can look at the search, just that combination of words, and then let Leo know if you have anybody that makes sense. All right,
Thank you.
great. You're welcome. Okay, I think we've gone around the room, which is good. So now let me give you some more tips around around this whole networking thing. So one of the things that you want to think about is when you are actually engaging with somebody. So let's say somebody's made one of these introductions for you. What do you do with that conversation? Oh, I'm so sorry, Lisa. I think I missed you. Sorry. I missed you. Are you here, Lisa?
He's
You're
on
on,
mute.
you're on mute.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh,
My phone froze up, and I've
oh,
been
I'm
trying
so
to.
sorry. I missed. We missed you. Let me press pause. And have you, if you're comfortable, sharing your lane and your community with us, so we can look for some contacts for you. You're back on mute.
Back on mute.
Oh.
Are you talking? Oh, you're still talking to me.
To you, yes. If you can share with us your lane and community, so we can look for some LinkedIn contacts for you.
Sorry, I thought you said a name of someone. Okay, someone else. Well,
Are you speaking? We can't hear you.
We got our
Oh,
phone.
I'm sorry, your phone isn't working.
All right, I'll log out. Sorry. I'll put it in chat.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so when you are on these calls, and Vern is an expert at this, and we can have him chime in here. When you are on calls with folks that you haven't met before, but have something to do with the world that you're in, you are trying to do as Vern calls, you want to what is it? Give it's a how do you say give and take?
Think about the conversations from the standpoint of teaching
Teaching
and
and giving.
yeah. So every conversation that you have has the potential for you to teach someone something about yourself and to learn something about them with the intention of building a relationship where the logic is simple. The more I learn about Amanda, the more she learns about me, the greater likelihood I can help her, the greater likelihood she may help me. So it's not about, I know in the job search, people say, oh, I feel like I'm begging and I'm, that gets into your head. If you just, show some interest in the other person, it's not all about you. Although obviously you've got to get your message across. So, think about when you're going to have that conversation, look at their LinkedIn profile. What questions can you ask them? What can you find out about their background and their interests? So spend a little bit of time in the conversation making sure that you accomplish both. You teach them something about yourself. You're in the job search, what you're looking for, what your skills are, but you take some time to learn something about them.
Absolutely. Thank you, Vern. It's really important because look, they're here to help you. You're here to help them too. And maybe not even professionally. Maybe there's a personal
Yeah,
connection.
yeah.
Maybe something that they have a need in their life, and you could be the person that could be the best resource for them. So it could be, I'm I'm recently saying necessity is the mother of networking, right? Because it's true, right? A lot of times we don't network until we need to network, but the reality is that we could be somebody's great connection. One of the stories I like to share in this call is that when I first started this group, which was the beginning of COVID, we had a woman named Kimberly who was on this call for a long time, and she's a director of membership in the association world. Anyway, she was on this call, and on this call, she met a woman who was on a different networking call on a regular basis, something called the Association Coffee Chat. She heard about it here. She went to that meeting because she was on this call, and she was in that meeting, and she was, telling people she was in job search. And there was a CFO on that call from another association who said, "Hey, we're looking for a director of membership." Apparently, watch this, Kimberly had already applied for that job, never got called. While she was on that call, the CFO was like, "Hey," and Kimberly's like, "I applied, I never heard anything." CFO goes, "Hey, send me your resume directly." She got interviewed, she got hired, she stayed for 4 years. Okay. This is the power of networking, people.
Yeah.
This is the power of networking,
So,
right?
so one other quick example, Amanda, my son has lived in London for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty familiar with London and of course he's got British citizenship now. So you and I already have something in common that you probably didn't know about.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
Great. Where are you
Never
based,
know.
Vern?
Huh?
Sorry. Where are you based, Vern?
I'm based in Southwest Florida,
Ah, okay. So
but I spent
we
I
can
spent
talk
a
more.
good 20 years in the DC area. So that's how Shira said we met God probably your early
20 years ago.
2000s.
I don't know, forever ago. Yeah.
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 So
Oh, great. Okay. Well,
Never know.
let's connect.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You've got your link. Have you got your LinkedIn profile in the chat?
Well, I put my email is in the chat. So you
Oh,
can
I can't hear you.
His email is in the chat.
yeah.
Brill. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So look, at the very least, I'd love for everybody here on this call to connect with each other. Go have Zoom calls with each other. Even if you're from completely different sectors, you never know. Okay. Seriously, all of our networks expand. I mean, we've got people in our LinkedIn, we've got next door neighbors, we've got people we go to church with, we got people all over the place, right? That could be a very interesting connection for somebody else. I mean, think of the last time you were on an airplane or wherever and randomly met somebody. You're like, oh my gosh, I know somebody who could help you. We all have opportunities to be a good resource for people. And that's kind of what I want to emphasize here is the power of networking and how many hidden connections that we have that is if only somebody were to tell us what their need was, we could then prompt and make a good connection. Okay. So that's the point here. So thank you for experimenting with me today. This is really great. My goal here when we do the higher vision group, for those of you who are or know people who are in the federally disrupted space, whether it's a GovCon, federal employee, nonprofit, what have you, is to have a group like this, which I imagine is going to be much, much bigger than this, and we'll put people in little communities, right, in little lanes, so people can have hopefully a more concentrated network, right, to help their colleagues. So I think we'll keep experimenting with this if you're all okay with it as our weeks go on, because hopefully this will be very practical for you to get you some good resources. All right. So with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up. Again, grab the chat. And what you can do here when you go to the chat is at the bottom you will see there should be oh, that's right. Go to the upper right-hand corner of the chat box, and it says save chat. And that'll save right into your computer. But otherwise, you can just hit Control A and just grab the whole thing and paste it into a Word doc, and then you'll have it. Okay. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and formally end this part of the call. For anybody who would like to stay on for a short prayer call with me, you are certainly welcome to do that. I'll lead you all in some prayer. Okay. Otherwise, we'll look forward to seeing folks in a couple of weeks. All right. Have a blessed day, everyone.